Southwest Seahawk and Nathan Savage, and we are reacting to the Rams win over the Seahawks. Guys, I'm feeling like a fool here. I had said this is going to be a shootout, and these Seahawks would knock them out, and we didn't get what I predicted.
Yeah, it was a very, very, and I hope I'm not jumping the gun, but it's so easy to go right to cut to the chase on this one. It was a very, very sad, very, very frustrating game because there were so many good things that happened in this game, and for it to end in a losing effort, again, is just it's just terrible, 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 terrible.
You hot
Yeah,
reaction, Nathan?
I was thinking about it a little bit more today, talking to people, and I actually thought it was a really fun game. I thought it was one of the more fun games that I've watched with them. I thought the defense was on fire. I thought I thought even special teams was making big plays. That pump block was huge, and then it is what it is with the offense where they just kind of fell apart. But it was fun to go to an overtime game. A couple big learning kind of mistakes, I think, or growing pains for the coaching staff. But I was actually really encouraged on defense, and that's the coach we hired for the Seahawks, and the one to kind of take the reins there. So I actually felt really encouraged after the game. Yes, it might mean the playoffs are a little bit out of reach for this team, but I was actually really encouraged by the game. I thought we played a team that we were supposed to play close, and we kept it all the way to overtime as it kept the door open for a chance of winning. And
Nathan,
outside of yeah.
I'm going to call you out because you were
Yeah.
you were very delicate with the coaching. You said there's learning opportunities. I believe there were some text messages with you that had the F word before learning opportunities. Well, actually, there's no learning opportunities at all. There's just a lot of a lot for you.
Yeah, I think
You weren't happy with it, were you?
well, on the side of offense, but I think right now with what we have with the Sounders, what we just had with the Mariners, and what we had with the Seahawks, I think maybe that's just a Mariner or a Seattle thing. The offense is just, where it's an era of enjoying good defense in Seattle, and yes, that's very frustrating, but I'm, to be honest, not very surprised. I'm still not happy about the coaching hire, but I would just be a broken record if every week I kept complaining about that. I think at this point we kind of know what we're gonna get out of them. Where it looks very, very similar running wise to some of the problems that Grub faced at UW, and I'm hoping he's gone by next year, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I thought actually I was very encouraged on the other two phases of the ball this week, and that was good for me to see.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of our podcasts over this summer was me just saying how bad Dakota was, and Nathan trying to keep me from punching the monitor.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does get repetitive after a while. Rob, you mentioned that you put the majority of the blame on Gino.
Yes, and to be fair, every interception isn't just the quarterback's fault. There could be various different reasons that go to an interception. But I didn't like his pocket presence throughout the day. There was one sack I think he turned himself into, where if he had just kind of he got turned around a little bit, and he did a full turn. And if he could have just went back the direction he turned from, I think he had some space in front of him. But just his pocket presence just didn't sit well with me on Sunday. And the interception that went back for a Rams record 103-yard pick six, that one I put squarely on him. That was a ball where, yeah, he had pressure in his face. I'll give him that. But given that situation, he made a poor decision to throw that football. I understand the ball comes out differently when you have pressure in your face, or when you're, not able to step forward into your throw. All that, withstanding, you have to know you're in that position, and that's not the ball to throw. And the defender was right there. There was two balls where that the defender was just right there. So, again, it's been a long time since I've been an NFL quarterback, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I know I could do better. But we can. It's okay to hold these guys to a standard. I've been a Geno apologist the entire time, and every once in a while I'm going to hold his butt to the fire. And Sunday is that day for me. Along with a laundry list of other issues that we had during that game. But I definitely 3 interceptions. It's really hard to excuse away 3 interceptions, regardless of how they happen.
Yeah, and there were 7 sacks on top of that. One obviously being Connor Williams, our center, deciding to launch another one 40 yards down the field.
Yeah, crazy.
Does he got the – Nathan might know what I'm talking about here. Connor Williams got the Chuck Knobloch in him? Has he got the yips?
I'm not sure. I mean, he used to be a guard and they recently transitioned him to center, and maybe something's off there. It seems like, to be honest, I don't want to go after Grubb again, but he's using this college style offense where Geno has to constantly look at the sideline to get the calls in on the play. And half the time he's looking over at the sideline, there's some disconnect and Williams is snapping the ball. But I'm so over this college style. Like, they have a headset, they can radio in the plays. 29 other teams are doing it. Why is Geno forced to not be able to look out at the defense and forced to go look over to the sidelines to get a signal on nearly every play? It's definitely Williams' fault for those high ones, but it seems like they're just really overcomplicating it for Geno, and really trying to add something into the league that's been, solved kind of for the longest time.
So you think his attention's diverted? Like he's checking with the coaches?
They've been talking about it. They're running a college style where they send Geno a signal. I think with about 15 seconds left in the NFL, they turn off the headsets. So Grubb is trying to use a college system where they, in that time frame, supposedly, that's why Geno, you see him constantly looking over to the sideline with 10 seconds left, 5 seconds left on the play clock, because he's getting some type of call on what the coverage is, or getting some type of call on what his number one read should be. I'm not exactly sure, but that's been happening, and I'm not sure if it's confusing the center and Geno or what's going on.
Did the television crew pick up that I can't remember what it was all about, but sometime in the second quarter, Geno was yelling at the sideline and started walking over towards the sideline, and it was going down to like 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Was there any breakdown on what that was all about?
I've just been hearing about it recently, but I've heard now a lot of people are talking about this. They're calling in the plays, or calling in coverages, or calling something in with 10 seconds left. Geno had a delay of game where you could see him looking over the sideline, looking over constantly waiting, and then by the time he got back under center, or back into the shotgun ready to catch the ball, it got the delay game. So I'm just starting to hear about it now, but supposedly what everyone's saying is it's a college style look over to the sideline to get the play or get the last minute read on the defense. And supposedly they're starting to get fans are starting to notice that this is happening.
That's really interesting, because that might explain a few things. Because I personally thought that the way NFL worked was you get the call on the headset, right? And then you get up to the line, they do their checks, and then the quarterback's got the power to audible out of whatever, That doesn't sound like this situation, does it?
Yeah, to me, it sounds like they're just trying to use something from college to give Geno reads. I don't think it's the full play, but again, I thought in the NFL, the reins were really supposed to be more on the quarterback, and the quarterback was supposed to be looking out at the defense, making his reads. But supposedly they're trying to incorporate something from the sideline during that time frame.
Gotcha. I want to go back to you, Rob, because we were talking about Geno Smith. I looked at the interceptions in the moment at the game. They all looked ugly, and they all looked like Geno's fault. I looked at some of the replays. That first one, maybe JSN should have caught if you're going to be a star receiver in this league.
Yeah.
And then that third one, my favorite tight end, I don't know what he was doing. He did this little,
Jump, yeah.
little, hopscotch, twirling around down there, and then he runs right into a defender. You're supposed to run away from the defender, AJ Barner, not into him. So I wonder if those two weren't necessarily Gino's fault.
I thought about that one. So the first one, I would agree that I think JSN might have some, at least a share of the blame there. Power, man up, get strong in there. It kind of reminds me of the Super Bowl interception. Who was it? What was the receiver that got just knocked off his? Was it Lockett? Yeah, he just got knocked off of his spot by the defender. It's like okay, man up a little bit. Use your weight. He got knocked off the spot and the ball was right there. So it reminded me of that a little bit. The one to Barner, the one when he was going to Barner, for me is another situation. I feel like Gino just knew where the ball was supposed to go and threw it anyway, and didn't take the time to assess the situation. Maybe it's so bang bang. Maybe you don't have time, right? But I mean, again, I'm always going to say, listen, these are the reasons you're getting what $20-something million or $30 million to assess these situations and make the smart play. Don't just go there because that's what the play calls for. If it doesn't look right, don't throw it. And to be fair, that might have been a high percentage play. If you run that play 100 more times, that thing might not happen again. But it was just rough. I think it was rough because, again, we were so close to being able to take control of this game and so many opportunities, and just for it to go right back the other direction on us. Super frustrating. I will say that I don't mind, though, just to Nate's point, I don't know if I mind this new offensive scheme just yet. If you go back not too many years and look when they brought in the read option, right? The option play was something that was always college, and a lot of folks griped about it because this is NFL. We don't play college football in the NFL, and the read option was killer for a long time. The Seattle Seahawks made a killing off of it for a long time with Russell Wilson and Marshawn Lynch. So, I'm not going to, look down on this new idea just yet. I give everybody 2 seasons. Shane Waldron, 2 seasons. I'm going to give Ryan Grubb 2 seasons. Maybe he's on to something, and we'll see. And if you look at how the offense looked when it looked good, maybe there's something that had something to do with that, because Jackson Smith and Jigba, sorry to jump the gun, had a day.
Yeah, there were 2 plays that I really liked. One was to him. It was a middle screen. And then later we did a middle screen again. And it's confounding to me that those quick hitting plays that don't require the offensive line to do a lot, honestly, they just got to get in the way. Those worked. The other stuff, like, I'm serious, guys. Every time I watch this, you got 4 or 5 wide receivers, 15 yards down the field, and there's nowhere to dink and dump the ball off. You got to give some account that this offensive line isn't that great, and find some plays. So that's my criticism of Grubb. Like, you're calling plays for an offensive line that's much better than what we have. So that's my frustration.
It's feast or famine, right? Like, either it's working great or it's working not at all. Right. So,
right.
And that can win you football games, and if we had managed to pull this game out, we might be saying something different about Ryan Grubb and his offense,
I don't know. I think a lot of what happened today was some sort of turnaround on defense. I saw that we held their running back to 60-something yards, and this run defense that's been abysmal the entire year found a way to stick it to them. Now, granted, Rams, they're not the Bills, they're not the 49ers, but they're still an NFL team, and we held them to 69 yards running.
And last week they put up 30 points on the best defense in football so far going in. So,
and we only gave up 18. Does that sound right?
We give up, well, yeah, I guess we include the
19.
last touchdown. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 19. Yeah. 20, I guess. Because I don't think – did they kick the field goal at the end? I don't think so.
They didn't kick the
Yeah.
So that'd be 18.
Yeah.
Okay. Or 19.
Okay, yeah.
Who cares? The point is,
Yeah.
when you hold the other team, under 20 points, I mean, you're supposed to win that game.
You're supposed to win. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with the turnovers and everything like that too. Yeah.
Speaking of turnovers, kind of nice to see a blocked punt, wasn't it? When was the last time we saw that?
It's been a while. It's been a while, certainly from a Seahawk team. It's been a long time. It was great. When that happened, I was like, we're about to win this game. That was a turning point in this game. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I think the momentum is going our direction right now. We're about to take over. We're about to win this game. And of course, we know what happened. But that was for me. It was like, okay, this is it. That's what we needed. Suck the wind out of take the wind out of the sails of that Los Angeles team, and we're gonna cruise the rest of the way on here. Just don't make any more mistakes. But didn't work out that way.
That was another star of the game. Was that Colby White? Was that
Kobe White? Yeah.
Kobe? Yeah, because he also was doing pretty well as a pass catcher for them. He had some.
Cody, my bad.
Oh, Cody. Okay, but he had some big catches for them too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought
44 yards on the day.
Yeah. And your guys' favorite, AJ Barner, even though he couldn't block very well, had some good catches. And he had a nice little athletic jump, little hop in his step. And by the way, Walker K9, he was the one that picked up that fumble that Connor Williams threw, 40 yards downfield. So he would have been over 100 yards, guys, but that counted against his yards.
Right.
So I think he finished with I think I got it right in front of me here, 83. 83. I think there's a good 20 yards in that loss. Makes me wonder, it's 2 weeks in a row. Why didn't he just throw the ball out of bounds?
I don't know. Maybe it's got to be coached, or I'm not sure. Yeah.
He's a fighter. He's a fighter. He because he actually gave us some yards back before he finally was, taken down. Yeah. So, for a very, very split second, I think like, is he going to break this? And then obviously he wasn't going to do that. But he helped stop the bleeding a little bit on that play.
All right, the last topic of the day, because I was screaming at both of you guys via text message. Kick the field goal on 4th and 1. You guys know me. I'm always kick the field goal.
Well, hold on. Listen, before we go there, I got to say this can't be the last topic of the day. Are we going to not talk about Jackson Smith and Jigba? We got to go at least a couple of minutes on JSN, but
we'll finish with JSN on a high note.
Let's finish on a high note with JSN.
Let's talk about this disaster, the 4th and 1.
Listen. You go for it. You go for it. It was the right call. It was the right call. I mean, because it just okay. Hindsight's 2020, right? And who says that what happened would have happened if we had kicked the field goal? But they went down and scored a touchdown anyway. So the field goal would have mattered. Not.
No, they would not. They would have had the fear of God put into them. They would have. I'm serious. There would have been some momentum put into our defense, and they wouldn't feel like they would have to win the game. They could, it just. Nathan, obviously.
I think there's layers to it. So one, they were winning this game on defense, so I would have probably kicked a field goal in that situation. But right before that, Gino had some huge momentum, made all these crazy passes. JSN was on fire. Why would you run for it on 3rd down and then run for it on 4th down? That was what had me wanting to throw everything at the TV. Like the running game was at 3 yards of carry, whatever it is, completely stuffed at that point. We've been passing ourselves back into the game. Why would you the whole reason we were even there in the first place was off the back of the pass. Why would you run for it on 3rd, run for it on 4th? You run for it on 3rd so that if you're going to go for it on 4th, you pass the ball or set up some different play. You don't. I don't know. I was so frustrated by the play calling. I think they just walked right into the trap, walked right into the teeth of what the strength is of the Rams defense. Didn't even try for what we'd been dominating them with all game and passing it. That's where I was very frustrated. But I think 9 times out of 10 with that level of defense, the way it'd been playing, I would kick the field goal there.
I agree. However, I think there's this piece of it. absolutely 100% right, Nathan. We were winning the ball off the strength of the pass, or winning the game off the strength of the passing game. But here's the deal. All that to the side, from my perspective, listen, if you need 1 yard, you have to be able to get 1 yard. I don't care if you're the Kansas City Chiefs or the New England Patriots or the Seattle Seahawks or who in anybody. When it's 1 yard for the game and you can't get 1 yard, you have to be able to say, listen, we're going to man up, we're going to flex our muscles, and we're going to push harder than you, and we're going to get 1 yard. And if you can't do that, I'm like, listen, you just don't deserve to win a football game. Now, to your point,
we didn't win the football game. So.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say this:
deserve to win any football game.
I will say this: I would have liked it better if it was 4th and 3, because to your point, Nathan, we would have called a play that was more to our strength. Like, I think you go play action or something quick or something. If it was 4th and 3, but 4th and 1, I think you just have to go. You have to run up the middle on 4th and 1. You just got to do it.
I saw a funny still of that 4th and 1. The Rams had every single player within 3 yards of the line, and they didn't have a single player outside the DM. Both linebackers were stacked right in the middle. All 3 linebackers, were stacked basically on top of each other in the middle, and everyone else was on the line for the Rams, and they ran it straight into the middle of that. Didn't get anywhere.
I think I might have to watch that again, because if you got that, I might audible into like throw a tight end like on a corner
like
route.
anything. Put some wide receiver out to get one. Just do. But I saw it still where they were all, the entire Rams defense was within like 3 yards of the line of scrimmage, and all within the D end of the center of the football on that play. So yeah.
All right, Rob, I'm going to give you 120 free seconds to talk to wax poetic about JSN.
So last week, I talked a whole lot about how we were missing, Decalen Zacharias Metcalf, right? And how we were going to be lost without him. And Jackson Smith and Jigba went completely off. He threw the ball at him 13 times. He caught 7 of them, 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. He seemed to just always be open. I don't know what they did differently on Sunday, but JSN seemed to be running at a different speed than everybody out there on defense. And so they whatever they did, I want to see more of that. And what I'm hoping for is that when DK Metcalf comes back, if they can incorporate DK into this newfound method of using JSN, we might have an air raid offense or something going. We might have a real vertical offense going here, because a lot of the stuff was down the field. There wasn't a lot of short stuff to JSN. He was catching the ball downfield. Even on deep center and deep middle and on in routes. But whatever it was, it worked perfectly. I want to see more of that, and I just we had to talk about Jason for having a banner day, and it's just so terrible that it was in a losing effort.
Yeah. Last word for you, Nathan.
Well, just you said it. I think that was a career high for JSN. That also would have been a career high for DK. So he had more yards, I think, in that game than DK has ever had in a single game. So just he went off on another level. So it's very exciting. Hopefully, that confidence buoys him forward into some tough defensive matchups coming up.
Right on. All right, guys. Well, we got Seahawks have a bye next week, but we'll still have some content for you this week. And I want to thank everybody out there for listening to us here on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes. And I want to thank the SouthWest Seahawk, Rob English, and Nathan Savage for joining us this reaction. There's more to be happy about, more to react to than against the Bills. So thank you, Seahawks, for giving us something to talk about this time. On behalf of the SouthWest Seahawk, Nathan Savage, myself, Abraham DeWeese, we will talk to you guys next time.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Okay. I'm hoping we can still do something this week. Maybe kind of do like let's talk about where we are and maybe go through the position groups.